Hello, I am Ian, and this video is about the missing piece of the puzzle to the lose weight, get in great shape, fat loss scenario is correct movement. So if you look at it like this, each one of our cells in our body has a blood vessel that takes food into the cell, and also has a lymphatic vessel that takes the waste out. But this carries the lymphatic fluid carries the fat. So food in, waste out. In one end and out the other. Kind of familiar modus operandi around here. It's more absorbing through cell walls than it being directly plumbed in, but for the ease of explanation. Now for circulation, the blood has a pump, our hearts, and also movement circulates the blood around our bodies. It's a bit like when you've been sitting down how long and you've got to get up, and you've got a bit of a numb bum, and you get up and stretch your legs a bit, get a bit of blood flow going on, movement and circulation. But the lymphatic system, which carries the fat relies totally on circulation, on movement movement for circulation to circulate the lymphatic fluid, which is carrying the fat around our bodies. So if we have a look at the lymphatic vessels which are carrying the fat, it's full of non-return valves. So when you contract your muscles, you've got fluid movement, the valves open, and the lymphatic fluid carrying the fat moves through the vessel. When you relax the muscle, the valves close, it stops the backflow. So if you don't contract your muscles properly, you end up with no fluid movement. Over time you end up with fatty, lumpy bits sticking on you. Alright, here's a little bit of a look at, it's from a book called Structural Integration, also known as Rolfing, by Ida Rolf. And just basically saying it's the way you move your legs. It's correct walking mechanics is the secret to the whole lose weight, get in great shape, fat loss scenario. The way you walk basically determines what shape you turn into. Your body's going to reinforce itself through the way you move it. And it goes on to explain herself a little bit further here. Our random friends, how did they get this way? Of the many alternatives, one is the most frequent. The asymmetry of the legs. Now, goes on to say that this may have started early. Now, I'm calling for some quality family entertainment with the underlying message being correct movement. And we need to give our children some good ideas before they start walking. Then some instruction when we start walking, which should be ongoing. So the correct movement is a counter-rotating spiral in motion. You've got to think wringing the cloth out, that counter-rotation. If you've got a cloth full of water, you would squeeze it and the water would come out of the cloth. Well, kind of that movement in our bodies, while vessels were squeezing fluid through vessels with that counter-rotating movement. So your legs are one foot in front of the other. You want kind of that more of a movement on rather than waddling from side to side. You want kind of this flowing movement. As if you're walking on a tightrope, like the inside of your foot straight to the direction that you're walking, and rolling on the balls of your feet. It's kind of that type of a movement. The idea is you can use your daily routine as an exercise routine and train yourself into walk correctly by just putting some good moves in your daily routine, making sure you haven't got any bad moves in there, and kind of keep going. A little bit of stretching and flexing. Bit of a morning warm-up, just the basic stretching moves that most of us will be familiar with gently flexing while you're stretching, a bit like bodybuilding posing. Some of the bodybuilding poses are good positions to practice, but gently stretching, flexing while you're stretching. And just keep going with that idea. So what we're doing here, what's the meaning of life? Are we alone in the universe? Is there a God? Is there life after death? The answer is we live in a created reality, and the Earth's an experiment to create one of our bodies. Our bodies are the technology. Life is seeded here our bodies are a genetically manipulated design, and this design has a natural counter-rotating spiraling motion that mirrors the way reality is created. Therefore, there's a best way to move our bodies using this counter-rotating spiraling motion. We're normally walking. There is a best way to walk. So to said the religious cross is the symbol of the energy being that we are made from, or that everything's made from, the creationary source, our universal envelope, galaxies, solar system, stars, planets, all consciously aware energy beings, just the same shaped, different size packets of the same shaped field of energy. So this counter-rotating spiraling motion. There's a mix of geometric shapes go on top of that, like platonic solids. The whole thing adds up to a human-shaped ghostly entity in amongst the whole thing. So it would make sense that our physical bodies would mirror the energy beings that we are, and so would the movement. So it's correct movement and a reasonably clean diet is required to be in good shape. So with the diet thing, you want to eat something you fancy eating, that's good for you. You want to drink some bottled water or a water distiller. Don't drink the tap water, that's no good. You want butter, not margarine. The process that turns an oil into a spread can leave the fats unusable, which helps you put on weight. And you want some Celtic sea salt, so the grey, slightly damp stuff, dried out seawater. You want some of that stuff. And keep away from processed food, you know, anything, as much as you can, anything hydrogenated, hydrogenized, modified, like the flavour enhancers and artificial sweeteners, which are, none of them are any good, but they're in nearly all of the fizzy pop, and protein shakes, vitamin pills. I mean, the thing's a neurotoxin. The worst one, the aspartame's a neurotoxin. This is no good at all, you know, it's poisonous to the nervous system. So, a reasonably clean diet and correct movement, anything with wheat as well, I was going to say, anything with wheat, sweet, don't eat anything sweet that contains wheat. The wheat's also being hybridized, which can cause weight problems, weight gain problems. Anyway, I hope that makes a little bit of sense. If you can please like, subscribe, check out the other videos, and we'll see you on the next one.